In today's video, I'm going to be showing you why this monitor right here might just be the best budget camera monitor on the market at the minute. Actually, forget about that. There's no probably about it. This is the best budget camera monitor on the market right now. This is the Viltrox DC-550 5.5 inch portable HD camera monitor. Let's take a closer look at it. So this is how it comes in the box, and like I've already said, this is the Viltrox DC-550, and straight away in the box we find that we've got this hardened carrying case for carrying the monitor around in, which is nice to have. And in the case we get a supplied battery, a monitor mount so that you can attach your monitor to the top of your camera, and of course the 5.5 inch high definition monitor, which also comes supplied with a removable sun hood. Removing the sun hood is as easy as lifting up the clip on top of the monitor, and the monitor comes with 3 fully customizable function buttons on the top and a back button, as well as an SD card slot so you can load on your LUTs. On the left hand side we get our on off button, as well as a rotating selection button. On the bottom of the monitor we get HDMI out, HDMI in, our mounting point, and a 3.5mm headphone port. On the right hand side we get a DC 12 volt in, another mounting point, and a 5 volt USB-C port. In the case we also get a USB to USB-C cable, a micro HDMI to full size HDMI cable, and a full size HDMI to mini HDMI cable. And when I tell you that all of this comes in at under $160 US, that's 130 UK pounds, you're probably thinking what I was thinking. For that type of money, with all these included accessories, it can't be very good, can it? It just can't be. But oh boy, was I wrong. Let me show you. Now, before we take a deep dive into the Viltrox DC-550, there might be a few of you out there saying, why do I need an external monitor? Well, let me explain to you why. When we usually take a photo on a camera, we look through the eyepiece of the camera to get the composition right, get the exposure right, and to make sure all our parameters are correct. When it comes to video, we have to rely on the rear screen of our camera, which is barely the size of an action camera, to not only ensure all our parameters are correct, but to make sure the video is continually recording the scene that we require correctly. And with a screen so small, it can often lead to mistakes. Imagine how much easier it is to monitor our scene, monitor our parameters, on a device that is actually called a monitor. It just makes it so much easier. And with this Viltrox DC-550 monitor, it comes with a host of tools and features that won't be included in your camera. Thus it's going to help you with your filmmaking. So when you first turn on the monitor, you're greeted with this glorious 1200 nit Full HD monitor screen. Pressing the dial on the left hand side opens up our menus, and in the top right hand corner we have our input source information, our battery level, and our monitor settings. In the top left hand corner we have our 4 main menus, and then on the bottom of the screen we have our sub menus. Our first main menu is waveforms, and in here we have volume bar, and all you have to do is touch this, then move the slider in the bottom left hand corner to the right, and this turns on this feature. And all you have to do to turn it off is move the slider to the left. Then we have histogram, which works in exactly the same way, and a vector scope, our parade, or we can turn all of them on under full waveform. And as you're probably already aware, all of these tools and features are to help you get the correct levels. And finally we got LUT table, which we'll be taking a look at later in the video. It's also worth noting that you can turn on multiple features at the same time, so that you can customize your monitor to your own needs. And to exit out of any of the menus, all you have to do is touch on the screen. And before we look at the next section of the menu, I'm going to quickly show you the high quality all metal monitor mount that comes supplied as standard with this monitor. With other monitors coming in at this price point, they usually come with really cheap L brackets. This monitor mount that comes with the Viltrox D550 is actually really high quality. We can either mount it onto the bottom of the monitor or onto the right hand side, and attaching it is as simple as tightening up the 1/4" screw on the monitor mount. And anybody that's used an external camera monitor before will know that using a quality monitor mount makes the user experience so much better. So well done to Viltrox. Our second main menu is monitoring tools, and our first option is focus peaking, and we can turn this on in exactly the same way as before. We get a slider where we can adjust the strength of our focus peaking, and we can change the colour at the same time also. And our next sub menu option is forced colour. Now if you're not sure what forced colour is, it's a way of getting correct exposure by the monitor applying colours to the different tones in our scene, and thus highlighting the underexposed areas or the overexposed areas. Our third sub menu is zebra stripes, and on this monitor again we get to increase or decrease the strength of this feature, perfect for when you're trying to get that perfect exposure. Our next sub menu category is monochrome, and in here we can change the monitor's display to a single colour, either grey, red, green or blue. Our next sub menu is pixel to pixel, and I'd like to admit I'm not 100% sure what this actually is. If you know what this is, please let us know in the comment section below, but we'll move on to the next subcategory, which is scanning mode. We get a choice of underscan or overscan. Our next submenu is image flipping. We can flip the image either horizontally or vertically, or both at the same time. Our next submenu is called gravity induced flipping, and this is where if you rotate your monitor, the image will automatically rotate for you. Our next submenu is image freeze. This basically does as it says on the tin. It's going to freeze the image at that point on the monitor, regardless if you change the camera settings. Our final submenu is camera mode, and this removes all our camera's display information from our monitor screen. Now the monitor uses the Sony NP type batteries, and they simply slide into the back of the monitor. If you're worried that you don't have a charger for this type battery, there's no need to panic, because Viltrox are putting a USB-C port into the side of the battery for charging. It's also worth mentioning that even without a battery, the monitor is perfectly happy to run off a 5V USB-C input. Next we're going to take a look at menu option number 3, which is called mark and composition. And our first submenu option is called tag setting. And in here we get to change the colour and the thickness and the border transparency. Now none of this is going to make sense until I move on to the next subcategory, which is called safe area. And in this submenu we get a slider that increases the percentage, and if we turn on this feature you can see that we get a safe area around our video, which shows us exactly our aspect ratio of the video we're taking. And ideally you'd set this safe area to the same size as your video output. In my case it's 85%. Our next submenu is triple center line, and we can turn this feature on and it overlays a grid on our screen so that we can get our composition right. And we can also add a center crosshair. Our next submenu is called mark ratio, and when this is switched on it shows us the highlighted area if we was to choose a different aspect ratio. The next submenu is aspect ratio zoom, and this changes the displayed aspect ratio of our video. It's worth mentioning though that this doesn't change the aspect ratio of your video file being recorded in your camera. The next submenu is our zoom tool, and this is pretty self-explanatory. By touching on one of the values on the bottom of the screen, we zoom into the image by that amount. It's also worth mentioning though that the DC-550 monitor comes with a touchscreen that when pinched and pulled automatically zooms in, similar to most modern day smartphones. And our final submenu is the de-squeeze function. This is a great feature if you want to see what your output file would look like in anamorphic mode or in cinema mode. And before I show you the final menu setting, I'm going to show you how to load a LUT onto your monitor. On this SD card I've placed a few LUTs, and all we have to do is install it into the top of the monitor. Then we go to our first main menu and then to our LUT table. Then we're going to press use a LUT and we're going to give the monitor a few seconds to load up our LUTs. On the right hand side of the monitor, they will be displayed. Simply select the LUT that you want and the monitor will apply this LUT look over the top of our input source. It's worth mentioning again that because this is only a monitor and not a recorder, that our video file inside the camera is unaffected by anything we do on the monitor. Our final main menu option is called Image, and this is all about the image on the screen of the monitor. We get to change the brightness, contrast, saturation, hue, sharpness, backlight, color temperature, and our RGB. And in the top right of our monitor we get our monitor settings, and in here we get language, fan speed, volume, menu, reset, our customizable keys on top of the monitor, and our system information. So there it is, the Viltrox DC-550 camera monitor. To say that I'm blown away by this monitor would be an understatement. With all of its included accessories that other companies would charge you for, and with all the tools and features included in the monitor, my mind is absolutely blown by it. And that's not forgetting the 1200 nit brightness of the screen on this monitor, which is just bonkers. Where other monitors leave you wanting at this price point, Viltrox has said, this is what we're going to offer you, now see if you can beat it. It really is the best budget camera monitor on the market right now, by a long way. In fact, the only negative I can give this camera monitor is that it doesn't come with a full-size HDMI cable. Other than that, it's absolutely amazing. I will leave links to this monitor in the description and in the pinned comment. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see further videos from myself, hit that subscribe button. But for now, that's it. We're going to catch up in our next video. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.